Hi, I'm Meg from Evolution Power Yoga and Evolution Go, and this is your 20-minute segment of inquiry work on getting clear with what's so and completion. So what you'll need for this exercise is a journal and a pen or a pencil to write with. Let's get started. So for this first piece, we're just going to acknowledge that sometimes there is too much stuff on our plate. We have bit off more than we can chew, and there is not enough space for all of the things that we've tried to include ourselves in or add to our plate. So the first thing that you're going to do is put your phone down, shut your laptop, and turn the TV off. A lot of the time when we're running from one thing to the next, and we've got so much other stimulation going on in the background, it's hard to just pause and acknowledge, whoa, there's just way too many things going on, and we need to take a pause. So put the phone down, close the laptop, and take a comfortable seat. Right where you are, in the car, at your desk at work, at the table at home, wherever it is, just sit and close your eyes. We'll take a couple of deep breaths here, and then we'll move forward. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale it through your mouth. 2 more like that, clearing breaths in and out. 1 more, fill up your lungs. Big exhale out. Let your breathing go back to normal and gently open your eyes. So first things first, you've got a lot of things on your plate. You've got a lot of things going on in your life. A lot of people are in that same space. And a lot of times that can take you from, I can do all of these things and process this, into overwhelm just by adding 1 more thing on the plate. So we're gonna take all of that mess that you've got going on up in your head, all of the lists, all the to-dos, and break it down into smaller, manageable chunks so that you can get things done and go from the space of overwhelm to completion and getting clear on what's actually happening. So grab that journal and pen and let's get started. Step number 1. All you're going to do is write down a list, either in a bullet form or sentences or just like a cloud of different ideas and thoughts of all of the things that you've got on your plate. Not the things that you think are big and important and belong on the list, literally everything. So for me, I know when I start to feel overwhelmed, there are seemingly smaller things on there that are adding to the list. Things like the sink is full of dishes and I've got to get that done. There's a basket full of clean laundry that's been there all week and I haven't hung it up. Even small things like that. Or I need to take the trash out. Put those things on the list. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to write as many things as you can down on this list, and you're just going to keep going for the full 2 minutes. If you stop and think, I don't know if I have anything else on my list, just keep thinking about it and keep writing for the full 2 minutes. Ready? Go. Okay, 2 minutes are up, pen or pencil down. All right, so the hard part is over, right? You've got your journal now in front of you. You got that piece of paper with all of the stuff that you have going on. So now you've taken it from a conceptual space where it can seem really overwhelming and like it's impossible to get done to, okay, this is what we're working with. So for some of you, it might feel like there's actually not that many things on this list than I thought there were going to be. And for others, you're like, wow, there is just as much on this list as I thought there was going to be. Either way, now it's down on paper so we can get it more concrete. So now that you've got everything in a list, we're going to move on to step 2. And step 2 is categorizing the items on your list. Now, your brain already does this anyway. As you're going about your day, as you have relationships with other people, or you're out running errands, your brain automatically catalogs things like errands and colors of things, shapes of things, different sounds that you hear, and puts that in the back of your memory so that the next time that comes up for you, it's easier to recall and it's a quicker, shorter thing for your brain to go from point A to point B. So that's what we're gonna do with this list. You've got this big mess going on, seemingly overwhelming, insurmountable mess, and we're gonna take it down to bite-sized pieces. So step 2 is for you to take that pen or pencil and you're gonna categorize the things that are on this list or this cloud of ideas. So you can do this a number of different ways. I like to start by creating the categories, like 2 to 3 simple categories. So that might be something like, for example, the first category is household chores, things that need to get done around the house. The second one might be outstanding things that need to get completed at work. And then the third thing might be errands that you need to go run. So just 3 simple categories, not trying to get them exactly into the categories and stressing about where they need to go, but giving them a label to fit under. So you'll start with the first category, say that that's household chores, for example, and you're going to underline every single item on the journal in this cloud of ideas that is a household chore. Then for the second one, you might circle every idea that's an errand that you need to go run. I need to pick up the dry cleaning. I need to drop off the kids at soccer practice. Circle all of the errands that need to get done, and so on and so forth. I'll give you 2 minutes to do that. Ready? Go. Okay, great. We're making great progress here. So now you've got your whole cloud of ideas taken down smaller by fitting them into categories, those couple of categories that you've got. We're going to break it down one step further. And that next step is deciding whether or not the items in those categories are time sensitive or not time sensitive. So you'll go through all of the stuff that you've got on your sheet and give it a number 1 next to that item or that statement if it's time sensitive, and a number 2 if it's not time sensitive. So for example, you might have a sweater that you bought that's the wrong size and you need to exchange it. And it's been sitting in the back of your car for a month now, and you know you only have 60 days to return that sweater. So you might put a 1 next to that, knowing that you've only got a few more days left or maybe a week left to get that sweater returned on time. A number 2 example would be something like taking out the trash. It's something that's on the list that needs to get done, but it's not something that's so time sensitive that if you don't do it right this minute, something else is going to happen as a result. So things like the trash or putting away the laundry can have a number 2 next to them as not so time sensitive. I'll give you about 1.5 to 2 minutes to number each one of the items with a 1 or a 2. Ready? Go. Okay, now you've got it. You've done great work. You've done all of the hard parts of breaking this down into small bite-sized chunks so that you can start to tackle the items on this list and go from overwhelm to completion. So the next step of this journey is writing all of these things into a fresh, clean list. So get a fresh sheet of paper and you're going to write down in one list with however many sections you have created for those items, and you'll put the thing that's most time sensitive at the top of the section and the thing that's least time sensitive or not time sensitive at all at the bottom part of the section. Once you've got this nice clean list, then we can move forward and start to tackle the things. I'll give you 2 minutes for that. Ready? Go. Awesome, you're doing great work. We're now bringing this down and hopefully taking a little bit of the stress and the overwhelm out of the whole project simply by organizing it in a way that seems more manageable. So now you've got a fresh, clean list of all of the items that are on your plate right now. They're organized into smaller sections, and then you've got them by time sensitivity. Now it's time to start tackling the items on your list. Now, instead of planning on, okay, I've got all these things on my list and now I'm gonna throw it back up into the air and I've gotta do every single one of these things right away. That's not what we're doing. That's what put you in overwhelm in the first place and made it less manageable to go from one item to the next. So you're gonna start with one section and you're gonna pick the most time sensitive thing in that section and do that one particular thing. So say we're going back to the sweater as an example. It's been in your car for a couple of weeks. You know you have to return it. It's in the back of your head and you're just not making time for it. Put a spot on your calendar, pick a date, pick a time that you're specifically setting aside so that you can bring that sweater back and return it on time. And then when you come home, cross that item off your list. Definitely make a point to cross each item off your list as you're doing it, because that's what's gonna give you that sense of completion of, I had this thing and it's bothering me, it's stressing me out, and now it's just done. You've gotten it out of the way and taken that piece off of your plate. So you'll go down and do each time sensitive, the top one at the very top of the section, then go down to section 2, the most time sensitive one there, and so on and so forth. And as you go down each section, each item on the list, cross it off and take a moment to take a deep breath. It takes a lot to set aside time and get organized and get all of your things together so that you can get complete with what you're working on to move on to the next errand, the next task, the next trip that you're going to take, whatever it happens to be. So take your time and don't discount small beginnings. It may seem like the trash isn't something to celebrate when you've got kids screaming in the background, the TV's super loud, your husband needs something, you've got to go to the grocery store, the dogs are barking, and everything gets crazy. With all of that going on, it is hard to take out the trash. So give yourself that moment to bag the trash and take it to the curb or out to the can in the back of your house, and then celebrate that moment for getting something done. And that'll give you a little bit of oomph, a little bit of energy, a push to go on to the next thing. Lastly, as you're going through this list, know that the whole thing itself does not have a final time limit on it. You're breaking this down into smaller pieces so that they're more manageable, less stressful, and you can get things done one at a time. Know that you can break this down into smaller pieces. Know that you are totally capable of going one thing at a time, getting everything crossed off your list, and creating completion in your life. So take a deep breath, connect your feet to the floor, and start making your list.